All right, let's get into this. Imagine it's game day and you're sitting there, ready for some Cowboys action. The buzz around the locker room and the fan base is palpable because the Dallas Cowboys are gearing up to face the Arizona Cardinals. And while some people might say the Cowboys have a clear advantage, it really depends on whether this defense can actually step up and perform like an NFL caliber unit. Because let's be honest, the Cowboys defense has had its moments, but too often they give quarterbacks way too much space. They struggle to cover the right areas, and opposing offenses have had too many easy plays over the top. That's the reality we've seen. Now, stepping onto the field for the Cardinals will be Jacoby Brissett, who is, in my opinion, exactly the kind of quarterback who can exploit those weaknesses. He's not just a passer. He's a quarterback who processes defenses, reads zones, and makes decisions based on what the defense is showing him. And honestly, that could be a nightmare matchup for a defense that's prone to leaving gaps. Comparing him to someone like Kyler Murray is interesting. Kyler is obviously more of a downfield thrower and has the ability to stretch the field vertically in ways that Brissett doesn't necessarily replicate as often. But Brissett's accuracy and his ability to dissect a defense make him dangerous in a different sense. Where Murray sometimes leans on his legs, especially in pressure situations, Brissett has a cerebral approach that allows him to pick apart zones and make consistent throws even under pressure. Dual-threat quarterbacks like Murray have this tendency to rely on athleticism because that's often how they thrived in college. And while that makes for exciting highlights, it can also create opportunities for a disciplined defense to contain them. If the Cowboys can manage to limit Murray's ability to extend plays with his legs, it's a winnable game. But facing Brissett might actually require more attention to coverage discipline and reading the field because he's more methodical, more likely to exploit the soft spots that this defense tends to leave open. Now, looking at how the Cowboys approach this matchup, it's similar to how they've handled other athletic quarterbacks. The goal is containment first. If you can contain the quarterback's mobility, force them to stay in the pocket, and make them execute under pressure, you've got a fighting chance. But let's be real, the Cowboys' defense has been inconsistent, and they've been getting exposed in creative ways week after week. We've all seen it. Big plays sneaking through the line, quarterbacks exploiting zones, safeties out of position. It's almost like a running gag at this point. And that's why, despite the news about who's starting for the Cardinals, I'm not sure Cowboys fans should feel any surge of confidence just yet. Brissett starting instead of Murray might seem like good news at first glance. But if the defense doesn't step up and actually play sound football, it won't matter who's under center. They can make all the adjustments in the world, but if execution isn't there, this could be a long day at the stadium. Speaking of long days, let's talk about what this could mean for the offense. If the defense manages to play at an average level, the Cowboys have a real shot to take control of this game. The Cardinals are stuck in that awkward middle ground where they're not terrible enough to be completely outmatched, but they're also not structured well enough to consistently compete against top-tier teams. That gives the Cowboys a theoretical edge, especially given their overall roster talent. But again, it hinges entirely on whether the defense shows up. The offense can only do so much if the defense is bending and giving up chunks of yardage at will. It's almost comical how many ways the Cowboys' defense has been bent over the table. To put it bluntly, every week seems like a different creative failure. Big plays over the top, poor containment on the edges, missed assignments in coverage. This isn't just about a few blown plays. It's systemic at this point, and that's what makes matchups against intelligent quarterbacks like Brissett potentially dangerous. Now, shifting gears a bit to the trade landscape, the Cowboys are reportedly making some intriguing moves. There's talk about trading Jalen Tolbert as a sweetener to improve the defense, and potentially moving defensive tackle Mazie Smith as well. If that's accurate, it tells me the Cowboys are serious about upgrading immediately. They're not just tinkering around the edges. They're looking for pieces that can make a significant difference right away. Trading a wide receiver like Tolbert, who has proven he can rack up 700 to 800 yards in a season with the right opportunities, signals that they're hunting for impact players who can contribute immediately. Pairing him with a draft pick or possibly packaging him for someone like Devondre Sweat from the Titans could address multiple needs at once, providing both immediate talent and long-term potential for the Cowboys' defense. The dynamics of these trades are interesting because they show a willingness to reshape the roster for immediate improvement. Moving Mazi Smith, for instance, would indicate a shift in strategy, possibly freeing up a pick to use in another trade, or simply adjusting the roster to better balance talent across positions. These moves suggest the Cowboys' front office is thinking proactively, not just reacting to short-term challenges. It's a calculated approach to improve the team's competitive edge, and if executed correctly, it could set the Cowboys up for success both this season and in the future. At the same time, the complexity of trade negotiations is something to keep in mind. While the Cowboys are reportedly reaching out to teams like the Bengals, Dolphins, and Raiders for pass rushers, it's crucial that any acquisition actually elevates the team. Bringing in a player who is not a clear upgrade over current contributors would be counterproductive. The goal has to be acquiring difference makers who can step in and immediately impact games. This is why names like Minkah Fitzpatrick or linebackers like Demario Davis and Logan Wilson come into play. They're players who can change the dynamic of a defense, not just rotate in and fill a spot. So as we look forward to the Cowboys' matchup against the Cardinals and the potential trades on the horizon, it's a delicate balance between performance on the field and strategic roster moves. The defense needs to execute at a high level, and management needs to make smart, calculated decisions that strengthen the team in meaningful ways. There's excitement and tension in equal measure because everything from player matchups to trade negotiations could tip the scales in favor of Dallas. This is the kind of week where anticipation is high and every update matters. Whether it's evaluating the Cardinals' starting quarterback situation or breaking down potential trades, the stakes are clear. The Cowboys need to perform, and the front office needs to make moves that enhance the team's competitive edge. And that's exactly the kind of scenario that keeps fans on edge, glued to every report, every practice update, and every pregame analysis. Because at the end of the day, performance and preparation intersect, and for a team like the Cowboys, that intersection is where wins are made or missed. All right, let's dive into the trade and roster side of things because this is where things get really interesting for the Dallas Cowboys. The buzz right now is all about potential moves that could reshape the defense and give this team a serious edge. One of the names floating around is Jalen Tolbert, the wide receiver who has shown he can put up significant numbers when given the opportunity. The fact that the Cowboys are reportedly willing to use him as a sweetener in a trade speaks volumes about their intent. They aren't just looking to make minor adjustments. They're going after pieces that can make an immediate impact. Trading a player of Tolbert's caliber isn't something you do lightly. It signals that management believes there's an opportunity to acquire someone who can influence the game from day one, whether it's on defense or another key position. Alongside Tolbert, there's the discussion around defensive tackle Mazi Smith. His name coming up in trade talks suggests that the Cowboys are open to reshaping their defensive line, possibly freeing up cap space or acquiring draft capital to address more pressing needs. Moving Smith could be strategic, allowing the Cowboys to leverage his value while simultaneously addressing other areas that have been problematic. The combination of moving Tolbert and potentially Smith shows a willingness to think creatively and aggressively in order to build a stronger, more balanced team. It's not just about getting rid of players. It's about maximizing assets and targeting acquisitions that can give Dallas a tangible advantage. Now, when we talk about the type of players the Cowboys might be pursuing, it's important to remember that they aren't just looking for quantity. They're looking for quality. Bringing in someone who doesn't clearly improve the current roster would be a waste of resources. The focus has to be on difference makers, players who can step in immediately and elevate the performance of the entire unit. Names like Devondre Sweat from the Titans or a high-impact cornerback or linebacker come to mind. Players who can address glaring holes in the defense and bring a combination of talent, athleticism, and football IQ to the field. The Cowboys are in a position where every acquisition matters because the margin between winning and losing is incredibly thin, especially in the NFC. Speaking of Sweat, his potential move is particularly intriguing. He has shown flashes of productivity, but pairing him with someone like Tolbert in a trade could create a win-win scenario. The Titans get a receiver who can contribute immediately to their young quarterback's development, while the Cowboys add a player at a position of need with both current impact and long-term potential. This kind of trade isn't just about filling gaps. It's about constructing a roster with complementary pieces that strengthen multiple areas simultaneously. If executed well, it could dramatically improve the Cowboys' defensive outlook and provide the kind of versatility and depth needed to compete at high level. In addition to individual player trades, there's the broader strategy of the front office to consider. Reports suggest that the Cowboys have been reaching out to multiple teams in search of pass rushers who can immediately elevate the defensive line. This is crucial because a strong pass rush changes the entire dynamic of a game. If the Cowboys can pressure the quarterback consistently, it not only disrupts the passing game, but also creates opportunities for turnovers and defensive scoring. However, the challenge lies in acquiring players who are clearly upgrades over current contributors. If a trade brings in a player who only marginally improves the position, it may not be worth sacrificing valuable assets or roster spots. The key is finding that impact player who can alter games and elevate the defensive unit as a whole. Another aspect to keep an eye on is how these trades might affect team chemistry and depth. Adding a high-level pass rusher or linebacker changes rotations, responsibilities, and potentially even the overall scheme. The Cowboys have to ensure that new pieces integrate smoothly without disrupting the cohesion of the unit. At the same time, trading away players like Tolbert or Smith must be balanced by ensuring that replacements or additions provide equivalent or greater value. It's a delicate dance, requiring precise evaluation of talent, fit, and immediate contribution. But if done correctly, it could put the Cowboys in a much stronger position heading into the critical stretch of the season. Looking at the big picture, these potential moves underscore the Cowboys' ambition to compete at the highest level. They're not content to coast on existing talent. They're actively seeking ways to improve and gain an edge over opponents. Whether it's through strategic trades, draft maneuvers, or roster realignments, the front office is signaling that they're in a win-now mode. This kind of aggressive approach is necessary in a league where every team has strong talent, and small adjustments can have a huge impact on overall success. The willingness to make bold moves, trading established players for potential upgrades, targeting difference makers, and addressing clear weaknesses demonstrates a proactive mindset that could pay off if executed wisely. Of course, all of this hinges on the execution on the field. Even the best trades and roster moves mean little if the players can't translate that talent into wins. The Cowboys' defense, which has struggled with coverage and consistency, needs to rise to the occasion. The offensive unit also has to capitalize on opportunities created by defensive stops or turnovers. Football is a team game, and while trades can shift the balance, success ultimately comes down to execution. That's why these discussions about Tolbert, Sweat, Smith, and other potential moves are so compelling. They highlight both the challenges and the opportunities ahead for Dallas. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers are swirling around AT&T Stadium after an eyebrow-raising comment from Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer. During a closed-door meeting earlier this week, Schottenheimer reportedly snapped at one of his players, shouting, "You're not playing with me anymore." Sources close to the team say the remark has fueled speculation that tensions in the Cowboys' locker room are reaching a boiling point and that a shakeup could be imminent. The player in question has not been officially named, but insiders suggest it involves a key offensive contributor whose performance has fluctuated this season. Fans are now left wondering whether this is merely a heated moment blown out of proportion or a signal of deeper discord within one of the NFL's most scrutinized franchises. Schottenheimer, known for his sharp offensive mind, has often been praised for pushing players to their limits, but this incident could mark a rare public crack in the team's chemistry. Analysts are already debating what this could mean for the Cowboys season. Could this signal a benching, a trade, or even a personnel conflict that could alter the team's trajectory? Some former players suggest that while such confrontations are part of the sport, The wording of Schottenheimer's outburst, "You're not playing with me anymore," carries an unusual finality, hinting at a personal rift rather than a tactical decision. Social media has erupted with speculation, with hashtags and fan threads dissecting every possible scenario. The Cowboys organization has not commented officially, leaving room for wild theories, from locker room mutinies to contract disputes. Veteran insiders suggest the team will try to smooth over the situation quickly. But if the fallout is serious, it could impact the team's offensive rhythm in the coming weeks. Whether this incident is a brief spark of tension or the beginning of a larger storm, one thing is clear. The Cowboys' locker room has become a hotbed of rumor and intrigue. Fans and pundits alike will be watching closely to see if Schottenheimer's words mark a turning point, or simply a dramatic outburst that will be forgotten by the time the next game rolls around. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.